and welcome to S24 Rundown, where we bring you the top headlines making waves across Nigeria and around the world. I am Gloria Atta. Stay with us. To start with, the federal government has allocated 962.83 billion naira in the 2026 budget for the procurement of sport utility vehicles, also known as SUVs, and empowerment projects, despite growing concerns over rising public borrowing. According to civic technology organization Tracker, the allocation includes 15.13 billion naira for 39 SUVs and 947.7 billion naira for 2,579 empowerment projects. Tracker raised concerns over the transparency of the spending, noting that only 70 of the projects have clearly identified locations. The group warned that the lack of project details could make monitoring and accountability difficult, especially as the 2026 budget is expected to be largely financed through borrowing. Economists have also called for greater fiscal discipline and transparency in government spending. Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has concluded the nationwide continuous voter registration exercise ahead of the 2027 general elections. The exercise covered new registrations, voter transfers, correction of personal details, and replacement of lost or damaged permanent voter cards, also known as PVCs. INEC Chairman Professor Joash Amupitan assured Nigerians that every valid vote would count in the 2027 elections, reaffirming the Commission's commitment to conducting free, fair, and credible polls. Meanwhile, stakeholders have urged INEC to make voter registration a permanent exercise to improve voter participation and ensure more eligible Nigerians are captured in the electoral register. Now, the House of Representatives Ad hoc Committee investigating the alleged Presidential Foreign Investment Promotion Council is set to question the Accountant General of the Federation, Shamsildeen Ogunjimi, over how the agency secured a 1.32 billion naira budget allocation, despite the federal government saying it does not legally exist. Lawmakers are seeking explanations on how the agency obtained a government budget code and office space within the federal secretariat. The probe follows the arrest of a man who allegedly posed as the council's director general, while the presidency has denied any involvement with the agency and described it as non-existent. Now, the federal government has increased annual admissions into nursing schools from about 20,000 to 50,000 as part of efforts to address Nigeria's shortage of healthcare workers. Education Minister Tunji Alausa said the expansion is part of wider education reforms aimed at strengthening the country's health workforce and supporting President Bola Tinubu's economic agenda. Alausa added that admissions into medicine, pharmacy, and dentistry have also been increased to boost the supply of skilled professionals. He expressed confidence that the reforms would help reduce the impact of the migration of health workers abroad and improve healthcare delivery across the country in the coming years. Now turning to the international scene, police in Berlin say the main suspect in the attack on the city's Pride celebrations has been shot dead after attacking officers with a bladed weapon. It came less than 24 hours after a woman was killed and at least 29 others were injured after a van plowed into a crowd and multiple people were stabbed near a Berlin Pride event on Saturday night. The report. Still on the foreign scene, A South Korean court has sentenced former President Yoon Suk-yeol to 18 months in prison, suspended for 3 years after finding him guilty of violating election laws by making false statements during his 2022 presidential campaign. The court ruled that Yoon misled voters over his links to a lawyer, a former tax official, and a shaman during the election. His legal team says he will appeal the verdict. If the conviction is upheld, his People Power Party could be required to refund campaign expenses reimbursed by the government. Moving on to business news with Hadiza Galadima. Hello, Hadiza. What's the latest in the world of business today?
Thank you, Gloria. We have than the latest happening in the business world today. And good day. Welcome to your business update. Here are the major developments shaping the business and economic landscape at this hour. First, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has intercepted a United Kingdom-bound cocaine shipment and arrested a businessman in connection with the consignment. Also, the Dangote Petroleum Refinery has blamed petrol importers for its decision to reverse its dollar-dominated sales policy and return to naira transactions. On the international market, oil prices have plunged following a pause in United States strike on Iran, while investors continue to monitor geopolitical developments and their impact on global energies. And also, demand for safe haven assets is rising as easing market risk reshape investors' sentiments. Now, the news in full. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, says it has arrested a 55-year-old Lagos businessman over an alleged attempt to export 3.30 kilograms of cocaine to the United Kingdom. The agency says the cocaine was concealed inside the walls of cartons used to package food items and was intercepted at the export shed of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos. The businessman, identified as Onibu Ndubisi Chinedu, reportedly deals in clothing at Balogun Market on the Lagos Island. According to the NDLEA, the investigation also led to the arrest of 3 cargo agents and another suspect who allegedly delivered the consignment for shipment. The agency says further investigations are going on. Also, the Dangote Petroleum Refinery says it returned to selling petrol in naira after alleged attempts by importers to hold back their stocks in anticipation of higher prices. A refinery management official who spoke anonymously said the decision was taken in the interest of preventing fuel scarcity and further increases in petrol prices. The refinery has briefly moved to dollar-dominated sales for some transactions before reverting to naira payments. The development comes amid continued concerns over petrol supply, pricing, and the impact of crude oil availability on domestic refining. Industry watchers said the latest policy reversal could have implications for competitions between local refining and imported petroleum products. And global oil prices have fallen by more than 5% following the United States' decision to pause strike on Iran, raising hopes of diplomatic effort to de-escalate tensions in the Middle East. Brent crude futures fell to around $91 per barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate traded around $48 a barrel. The decline comes as investors reassess the risk of prolonged disruptions of oil supplies and shipping through the strategically important Strait of Hormuz. The development is also easing some concerns about a prolonged energy price shock that could fuel inflation and put additional pressure on central banks. However, markets remain cautious as the geopolitical situation is still fluid. And investors are continuing to reposition their portfolios as geopolitical risk shows signs of easing. The pause in U.S. strikes on Iran has helped reduce fear of wider regional escalation, triggering a decline in oil prices and easing some pressure on global markets. At the same time, investors remain focused on traditional safe haven assets as uncertainty persists. Market analysts say gold, the US dollar, and the government bonds remain closely watched as investors balance the possibility of further de-escalation against the risk of renewed geopolitical tensions. For Nigerian investors, developments in global oil prices remain particularly important given the country's dependency on crude oil revenues and the impact of international energy markets on foreign exchange and government finances. That's the latest from the business desk. Stay with us for more updates on the markets, the economy, and the development shaping business in Nigeria and around the world. Up next is our newspaper review after the break. Stay with us.
Thank you, Hadiza, and welcome back from that break. Now to our next segment, the newspaper review. And joining me is Sarah Abel.
Hi, Gloria.
Hi,
Thanks
Sarah.
for having me today.
How are you doing today?
I'm fine.
It's always a pleasure to have you here.
Yes, same here.
Yeah. So I hope you're ready to dissect today's issues.
Of course.
As always.
As always.
As always. So let's begin quickly with our first newspaper, and we'll be looking at the Punch. And on the front page, it says FG budgets 1 trillion naira for empowerment SUVs amid rising borrowing pressure. Now, do you think that this news or this earmarking that the government is doing is justified given the country's current economic situation?
I mean, when we talk about empowerment, it's always a good thing. It is the responsibility of government to empower its citizens in whatever way it can, right?
Yes.
But then where the concern comes into play is that our 2026 budget has a deficit of about 46%, and we are heavily borrowing to run this our budget for 2026. So we have to look at it like, is this amount not too much for this empowerment project? Because the empowerment is not the problem. Government have to empower its citizens. The accountability for empowering is where the issue comes in. Historically, we have had issue of not being accountable for some of these projects. Even ICPC has laid concern on some of these projects being politicized. They hoard and they divert some of the empowerment items, right, to use for campaigns. Well. So this is where the issue is coming from. Using close to 1 trillion naira is a lot of money. Can we actually trace this empowerment? And you know, another this thing is that out of 2,579 empowerment project that has been given, only 70 has clear location implementation. So if we don't know where this project is being implemented, how do we measure? How do we monitor?
Indeed.
How do we know who has received? How do we measure to see the impact of such projects? That is where the problem is.
And you know, you had mentioned earlier that empowerment projects, these are programs, these are things the government has been doing.
Yes.
We've had so many from even before probably you and I were born. But do you think that these empowerment programs are actually achieving what they are intended, looking at the current level Nigeria is when it comes to the multidimensional poverty statistics and every other statistics we have out there?
Looking at the statistics, we are not actually getting what we want from this empowerment project. That's why I said, if you look at accountability is the issue. And can we afford this amount of money to use for empowerment? Close to 1 trillion is a lot for a budget that is running on deficit. We are borrowing. And we need to ask ourselves the question of these empowerment projects, are they going to be economically sustainable? Or are we just doing this project for the now, just to relieve for now? These are certain questions we as Nigerians need to answer.
Yeah, indeed. So, you know, we've always, a lot of times, Nigerians are always criticizing the government. Whenever, you know, we see the news, we see reports of them borrowing heavily. So what then, or how then, should the government prioritize its spending? What should they be spending on so that Nigerians will actually feel the benefit of whatever it is they say they are doing?
The criticisms from Nigeria borrowing is not the borrowing itself. Nigeria is not the only country that borrows,
Yes, indeed.
right? The problem is accountability. If you're going to borrow a certain amount of money, you should be accountable for that amount of money. For instance, as I said, for this project now, how can you just have only 70 implementation locations as of now, right? You can't monitor. Some of even the agencies that have been given this empowerment project, their statutory mandate is not even on empowerment.
Yeah.
So these are questions this is what brings distrust from Nigeria. Let's not forget during COVID that we had government that hoarded Indomie.
Indeed.
Let's not forget. Yes, and those Indomie and some of those foodstuff were empowerment items, right? That's supposed to have been given, right, to people. But it was hoarded. For political reasons.
So very quickly, before we move to our next newspaper, then how then can we ensure accountability? Because that's one of the things you've been stressing on since you started talking. So how then can we ensure accountability and transparency in monitoring the implementation of these programs and these projects?
In simple terms, for every 1 kobo spent, we have to see a straight line as to where that money went to, who it went to, how it was received, what was used for it, and the outcome of it. It's a simple thing, right? If I give you a business to run and I tell you bring the balance sheet, I should be able to tell from what time to what time, what amount did you spend. Every little naira counts. But we don't have that for government. You just lob in a certain amount of money and say this empowerment. You don't just stop there. You have to know the impact of such empowerment. How did it work? What part failed? That's what Nigerians are asking for, right? Nigerians are not saying do not empower. They are not saying do not borrow, but we do not have accountability from our government.
Indeed. Thank you so much for raising that salient point.
Thank you, Gloria.
I would really love to still talk more on this, but because of time, let's quickly turn to our next newspaper, which is the Daily Sun. And on the front page, it says, Governors push for state police takeoff. Now, this is a conversation that's been reoccurring in the headlines for several months now. Let me just hear your thoughts on this.
I think it's a good thing. State police is actually a welcome development due to the rising insecurity that we have in Nigeria. You need people who know the terrain, the language of certain places that they are protecting, right? So it's a good development, and I saw that about 5 governors are already planning on implementing the state police. They want to use their local security that they are currently using. For example, in those states have the Tekun, so they are going to make use of that and turn it into their own state's police. So it's a welcome development, although I still have certain concerns that needs to be raised. I feel like we should not just rush to implement it. Nigeria has a habit of just bringing things that work on paper without looking at every other corners to see how realistically we can implement. So I think government should take their time to cover all bases before the implementation of state police.
Yes, also whenever the government is, talking about the state police, for example, they're always drawing from other countries, especially outside the shores of Africa. Yes. So looking at the Nigerian people, the kind of culture that we have and the kind of understanding, do you think that we are ready as a people to make this kind of policing system to work?
Yes, that's why I say we should take our time. Let's implement it based on how our reality is in Nigeria. We should not just do a copy and paste kind of thing for the state policing. There are a lot of questions that arise, a lot of concerns. One of it is the governors. There's a concern of governors utilizing their state police against their political opponents, against Protestants and all of that. So that should be something that should be looked into. Is the governor the final sayer of the state police? Should there be respect of law where the law and the governor is clashing? Who should the state police, follow, right? These are many questions that should be answered concerning state policy.
All right, then finally, before we leave, what is your advice in terms of implementation? Do you think this should be rolled out maybe from one region to the other, or it's something that should just kick off nationwide immediately?
No, I think it should be done partly. Let's see how it goes. And a lot of questions. How do the state police what will be their liaison with the Nigerian police force?
Yes.
What case passes the jurisdiction of the state police into the Nigerian police? Because they are going to be working hand in hand, right? So it has to be plain. You know, this is where the state police jurisdiction ends. This is where Nigerian police end. Another thing, if a kidnapping occurs, for example, in those states and it enters Ogun State, these are questions.
Yes,
how we need
issues.
to understand that this thing only works with collaboration. All states have to collaborate. And one of my own main concern is that we have poorer states in Nigeria. We have state governors who do not pay civil servants.
Yes.
Right? You hear of cases of state governors owing for 4 years civil servants. So that brings the question of payment of salary for this state police. You know, how will their payments go through? You know, their allowances and every other thing for poorer states.
Yes, just as you've said, time will tell.
Time will really tell.
I would always say that there are interesting times ahead.
Time will tell.
We'll be here watching to
of
see.
Of course, let us monitor
how
the
this
situation. Yes.
Thank you so much,
Thank you
Sarah,
for
joining
Gloria.
us on our newspaper review today. And that's it. Up next is S24 Report coming to you after the break. Stay with us.
We are here in Kano State, Sabon Gari, to witness the grand commissioning of the Hajat Zoic Digital Market, a modern hub that promises growth, development, and jobs to the entire people of Kano State and Nigerians at large.
The Hajat Zoic Digital Market officially commissioned on the 25th of July 2026 in Sabon Gari, Kano State. The project marks a significant step in the state's drive towards innovation, enterprise, and sustainable economic growth. Located in one of Nigeria's busiest commercial districts, the market is one of the largest dedicated electrical and electronics market in West Africa, featuring more than 1,500 jobs, providing a modern business environment for traders, entrepreneurs, and technology-driven enterprises.
What you see before you is not just a market. It is the result of vision, trust, partnership, and a shared commitment to the development of Kano State.
Developers say the market is expected to generate over 50 billion naira in annual revenue while creating more than 100,000 direct and indirect jobs, making it a major contributor to Nigeria's economic growth.
And this project is a market, it's one of the biggest market for electrical and electronics market we have in the entirety of West Africa. It's a market where it puts all the people that are into electronics and electrical appliances to converge in one space.
Guests at the event believe the market hub will attract more local and international investors, expanding trade opportunities and reinforce Kano's reputation as one of Africa's leading commercial centers.
You know, the results of projects like this are numerous. First of all, no doubt about it, they are meant for economic growth and development. And under that, you can clearly see that jobs will be created, opportunities will be given for the development of a new brand of entrepreneurs, as we've just heard in the address by the MD of Summit Bank. And before I forget, let me specifically commend the offer he has just made today to the young entrepreneurs who will be given loans and be given capital to start.
With modern infrastructure, international partnership, and strong investment potential, the Hajat Zoic digital market is set to redefine electrical and electronics trading while opening a new chapter for commerce and economic development in Kano State.
We are not simply opening a building, we are opening new opportunities, new businesses, and a brighter future. Thank you, and may God bless Kano State and the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
For S24 Television, I am Hajira Suleiman.
Welcome to another edition of Political Arena here on S24 Television, where we discuss issues shaping Nigeria and beyond. Today, social media has become one of the most powerful, influential tools in modern democracy. It has transformed how citizens access information, participate in political debate, and monitor elections. It also helps citizens to curb misinformation, hate speech, and political propaganda. The big question is social media strengthening democracy or it is weakening it. To help us understand this is our guest is Farida Salihu Lukman, communication officer from Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, West Africa. Farida, welcome to Political Arena here on S24 Television.
Thank you for having me.
So Farida, if I may ask you, the perception about social media these days is most Nigerians cannot do without social media. How true is that assertion?
How true is the assertion that most Nigerians cannot do without social media? Okay, I don't have the statistics to answer that question, but I will say that I think it's nuanced because those of us who do have the privilege of being able to afford the data that requires to be online, there is a level of dependency on being online. Many of us now get our information not from traditional media, but from our
social media, within the comfort of your zone.
Exactly. But I guess the other side of the nuance is there's a large population of us who can't access phones, who don't have connectivity. So I like to think about it in that way too.
Thank you for that. Democracy thrives on informed citizens. How has social media changed democratic participation compared to 20 years ago?
Yeah. So like I said, those of us who do have access to smartphones, to social media, we're now increasingly getting our information, myself including, like I find myself these days, when I'm looking for information, I know where some of the first places I go to are,
Verified and legitimate pages.
Exactly. So I would say that is one of the ways it has changed our landscape of political activism. We're in a time of digital globalization specifically. So we're more connected than we've ever been. We have access to information at the tip of our fingertips, and that has helped things from, political discourse, election monitoring, like you mentioned, and even
hold the leaders accountable.
Exactly.
So during elections, millions of Nigerians rely solemnly on Facebook, X, TikToks, rather than traditional media. Is this a positive development?
Again, I love the word nuance, right? Because in many ways, there are the positives. But the other side of it is there's an inherent consciousness that we now have to have as consumers on these alternative media platforms, which is how do we verify the information that we are consuming?
Of what we see online.
Exactly. Now, because of social media, we're not just relying on traditional media. But the thing about traditional media is that there are processes in which and systems in place to make sure that what you're getting is credible, verified information.
Editorial fact-checked.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now, as social media users, we inherently all have to become fact-checkers in a way, because we need to ensure that not only are we consuming verified information, but we're also not sharing information that are false.
Yeah. So what role has social media played in encouraging young Nigerians to participate in politics?
I mean, okay, so I think it's a beautiful thing because you go online, the amount of young people that you see, that the frustration of just existing within the country has pushed to picking up their phones, setting up a tripod and venting out their frustration. And I think that kind of activism or that kind of energy translates into a larger movement. Like I've been thinking a lot recently about what does organizing look like in this digital age. We were increasingly more and more moving beyond the traditional sense of it, in where you're looking for like a big organizing body to kind of rally people together. You see people organizing and coming together in comment sections, in timelines, in under people's videos, you know, where somebody is talking about something that's not just affecting them, but someone is listening to them and saying, I'm going through the same thing too. And dropping a comment and saying, what do we do? And that question alone, what do we do?
Matters.
I think exactly.
So, like, has social media strengthened Nigeria's democracy?
In many ways, yes. But it has also, I think, shone a light on what the cracks of our democracy are as well. You know,
Citizen journalism has exposed corruption and human rights abuse. How important is that in our contemporary political arrangements?
I think it's incredibly important. It's especially when you live in a society where you feel like the traditional institutions that are supposed to either shed light on these things, hold perpetrators to account, or even just do the work that now people who have access to social media or just are concerned about these things are doing. When you feel like those systems have failed you, having access to a platform where your voice can be heard, you know, that's a game changer, I think.
Okay, during elections, social media allows citizens to report incident in real time. How valuable is this protecting the electoral integrity?
Incredibly valuable, but again, nuance, right? I think that's going to be
it's two sides of the coin.
Yeah, it's exactly, because we have to also be very aware that there's a lot of misinformation, disinformation, hate speech, fake news. And the thing about fake news is that the nuance around it is that there could be something that has happened in the past, but someone is recycling it to kind of fit it. You know, so it's important. It's great, especially for like things like monitoring the speed at which information can spread. You know, something is happening in real time, and you're able to raise awareness about it. But we also have to be really conscious about how we're using these tools.
Okay, can social media improve transparency in governance?
Yes, and I think we've seen examples about how this has happened, right? I think I was having a conversation sometime this week, and the example came up about how is it police inspectors or something, like in the past, you know, I can't really remember. I don't really have the details of it, but you know, now we have police inspectors that are doing press statements and coming out to say, okay, these are the cases. I mean, it's not happening as frequently or as consistently as we would like, but it's a start, and it's a push in the right direction to see that, okay, a few people coming together, not just a few people, like many people complaining about something has brought about this kind of change where now we even have like EFCC has social media pages, you know, like
that
you
they
see
are pushing out their things out.
You know, everybody is creating content now because you realize that social media is a platform in which you can reach people, you can reach a lot more people, you can sensitize, you can pass information. So I think it's great in that way that institutions are
hold accountable.
Yeah.
Okay, despite the benefit of social media, like misinformation spread rapidly online. How dangerous is that?
Incredibly dangerous. It's so dangerous. There have been incidents where misinformation can, or disinformation, or any kind of fake news can also translate into physical violence. It can translate into the importance of information and intelligence is that you are passing across something that is beneficial to people. The moment you weaponize that to push an agenda, it's
out.
And then it can be very dangerous, you know. So, and that's why I think every time when I think about social media, I think of it in terms of the double-edged sword of it all, you know, like it has a lot of good, but in the sense that you can say that about anything. What matters is how are people using it? You know, how are we engaging with it ethically? How are we making sure that we are not part of the problem and that we're using this tool that could be beneficial for us in a way that is changing our lives for the better?
Let's talk about like the presence of AI and how videos are coming out. and how people are using AI in order to fabricate lies in order to win elections. Should Nigerians be worried about that ahead of 2027 general elections? Because if care is not taken, maybe one AI guru will just went and fabricate some fake result and push it to the people.
I like that you use the word AI guru. That's very interesting because in many ways, many young people, and maybe not isolated to young people alone.
Even the old one?
We're all becoming AI gurus in a way, right? AI is such a hot button topic these days. And we see the examples even ahead of the elections, even in like the off-cycle elections that are happening. You kind of see the way AI is being weaponized. So I think in addition to how we become fact checkers, we also need to educate ourselves in how to spot AI and the tools that we can use to kind of reverse engineer, like reverse search. Is this AI? Is this real? Because also, to shift it a little to like the gendered topic of it, there's a lot of the targeted gendered misinformation that AI now facilitates, especially to discourage women from coming out to participate in
their franchise.
and it renders all of us vulnerable. And I think unless we look at it as a collective vulnerability, then we need to we start to educate ourselves and those around us, because I don't know, maybe I'm sure you've received a message or someone sent you something like, oh, look at this is incredible, like, can you imagine? You're like, this is so obviously AI, so we have to start educating those even
ourselves,
even those in our circle.
Good morning, but I'll give you a band so that
as dawn breaks over Nairobi, hundreds of runners gather in a courtyard for an energetic warm-up session. Dressed in colorful athletic wear, they stretch, jog in place, and move in unison under the guidance of Emily Chepko, founder of We Run Nairobi. What began as a small community initiative with just 4 people has grown into one of the city's most vibrant fitness movements, bringing together Nairobians from all of walks of life. Chepko says the idea started from a desire to share her passion for running and create a sense of community.
How this all started was for community service, right? Like I had something that I was good at and I wanted to share it with people. And it honestly has been true this way. And I think, it started with me sharing it with 4 people. And then like these 4 people shared it with more people.
Every Saturday morning, participants choose early exercise over late night plans, reflecting a growing shift toward healthier lifestyle in the Kenya capital. With a megaphone in hand, Chepko motivates the crowd as they leave the courtyard and take to Nairobi Street, jogging past office buildings, quiet residential roads, and tree-lined avenues.
What surprises me the most on a Saturday, and every single Saturday I have a moment where I reckon with this, is that I know what Nairobi is, right? We are a party city, we are a feel-good city, we wait for Friday, right? And so I know that every Friday night, either someone has sacrificed the Friday night and, like maybe shifted it, because we are doing both, right? We're not like giving it up. Maybe Saturday is the night we go out, because on Saturday morning they've planned to rise up early and come out to run.
For many runners, the club offers more than fitness. Participant Georgina Atieno says she initially joined to lose weight, but stayed because of the friendships and connections she found along the way.
My main agenda was to lose weight. The main reason why I started running was to lose weight, but it slowly shifted. I found a community. I made so many friends in the same field I'm in different fields. I get to meet different people. So yeah, it's fun.
Another runner, Malai, says the sense of togetherness is what makes the experience special. people willingly gathering at 7 a.m. simply to run, socialize, and support one another.
I love community. I just love the community. I love seeing people together, running, enjoying life, and being healthy. That we're all running at 7 a.m. and we love it. It's optional, and we're all here. So I just love it. Yeah.
After the run, the group returns for cool-down stretches led by coach Alfredo St. Forbes, who believes Kenya is increasingly embracing an athletic culture.
Kenya is becoming an athletic nation. And then a few months ago, even like the alcohol industry, they're complaining that they're not getting a lot of revenue because we're not paying attention to them as much. We're turning to the athletic lifestyle. So you can see the shift is going on here.
As runners recover, CHEPCO reflects on the challenge of keeping the free community sustainable while expanding its impact across the country. Her goal, she says, is to ensure We Run Nairobi continues long beyond her own involvement.
We get enough requests to replicate the model in different parts of the country. At the core of that is always sustainability, because always they have to be free, and therefore everyone who's in the back end of it has got to sustainably do it.
The morning ends with cheering, high fives, and conversation over refreshment as runners gather on the rooftop overlooking the Nairobi skyline. More than just a fitness club, We Run Nairobi has become a symbol of changing urban culture, one built on wellness, connection, and community.
Security agencies across Nigeria are stepping up efforts to tackle crime and improve public safety. Here are the latest security developments. The Lagos State Police Command, the Lagos State government, and youth leaders have reaffirmed their commitment to working together to improve community safety through stronger cooperation, dialogue, and respect for human rights. Speaking at the Police Youth Engagement Program in Badagry, the area commander of the Badagry Area Command, ACP Adeleke Smith, who represented the Commissioner of Police, Tijani Fatai, described the initiative as timely in light of prevailing security concerns and the forthcoming general elections. He urged young people to support community policing by providing credible information to security agencies while shunning cultism, cybercrime, drug abuse, and other criminal activities. The Nigerian Army has arrested a soldier previously declared wanted over allegations of supplying military equipment to terrorists and other criminal groups. The suspect, Private Muhammad Yusuf, was apprehended by troops of the 7th Provost Group under Operation Hadinkai at Jidari bus stop in Maiduguri, Borno State, while allegedly attempting to flee to Republic of Cameroon. Army authorities said he had been declared wanted on July 23rd following allegations of illegally supplying military accoutrement to criminal elements. Finally, the Nigerian police force says it arrested 138 suspects for offenses including terrorism, banditry, kidnapping, armed robbery, cultism, and murder during coordinated operations carried out nationwide between July 20th and 26th. The operations also led to the rescue of 23 kidnapped victims, the recovery of 31 firearms, 99 rounds of live ammunition, and 20 vehicles, while 6 notorious criminals were neutralized during armed confrontation with security operatives. That's the latest security updates. Stay alert, stay informed, and report suspicious activities to the appropriate authorities.
Welcome to Tech Updates. From smart classrooms in Nigeria to Apple's next big gadget and a huge investment in artificial intelligence. Here's what's making headlines in the world of technology today. To start with, the Ebonyi State government is taking a big step in digital education. The state has approved a new project that will bring almost 990 Huawei smart interactive boards into public schools. It will also set up 43 artificial intelligence classrooms, each equipped with a virtual science lab. The goal is to give students better access to modern technology and also help them learn from an early age. From Nigeria, let's move to a story that affects people across the continent and beyond. Health and security experts are raising concerns about the growing use of artificial intelligence to create fake medical information online. Report says AI-generated health profiles are spreading quickly on social media platforms like TikTok. The worry is that many people may believe and follow health advice that has not been confirmed yet by medical professionals. Although experts are hereby encouraging people to always check health information with trusted medical sources before acting on it. And now, let's see what's happening on the global tech scene. Apple is taking more time before launching its smart glasses. Reports say the company wants to fix privacy concerns, especially around recording and protecting users' personal information. Because of that, the product is now expected to be introduced around mid-2027. Apple also says it wants to make sure the technology is safe and ready before it reaches the public. And finally, NVIDIA is also discussing a huge financial deal that could support OpenAI's expansion. The plan could provide a $250 billion financing guarantee for OpenAI to lease a massive data center in Ohio, United States. If completed, the project will power more artificial intelligence systems and support the growing demand for AI around the world. And that's all we can take for today. I am Gladys Asuko. Thanks for watching. Do stay connected for more stories shaping the world of technology. Do have a lovely day.
If social media had a gym membership, it would have pulled up a muzzle this weekend. 1 minute, people were arguing over who deserved to win the Big Brother, and the next minute, they were trying to confirm if a certain relationship advisor had secretly become a husband. And the Marvel fans, they were busy screaming Wakanda forever all over again. Clearly, entertainment has refused to give us a day off. And here is your entertainment update for today. The wait is finally over as all 24 housemates for Big Brother 9 Season 11 has officially been unveiled. The new season, themed Everything is for the Taking, has kicked off with contestants moving into Biggie's house to battle for a record-breaking of 160 million grand prize over the next 10 weeks. Among the first faces viewers met were Tram, who became the very first housemate to enter the house, and Ikem, who was introduced as the first female housemate. This year's cast include entrepreneurs, creatives, professionals, and even contestants who are already in relationship. While one housemate revealed they are married, with just a few hours into the season, personalities are already beginning to shine. Alliances are quietly forming, and fans have started picking their favorite. If history is anything to go by, the real drama is only just getting started. Moving on from people entering Biggie's house to someone people never expected to enter marriage. Popular relationship commentator Gege has become one of the biggest talking points online, following reports and videos suggesting that he recently got married. But instead of confirming or denying the speculation directly, Gege responded with a tweet that quickly went viral. He wrote, "Did he ask you to break up with your girlfriend?" The statement immediately sparked even more conversation across all social media, with many interpreting it as his way of telling critics that his personal life has nothing to do with the relationship advice he gives online. For many fans, however, the irony wasn't lost. Gege built much of his online popularity by making controversial comments about dating and marriage. So seeing him linked to a wedding naturally caught many people by surprise. Whether the tweet settled the debate or fuels even more reaction, one thing is certain: everyone suddenly has an opinion. And finally, from relationship timelines to movie timelines, because Wakanda has officially found its next prince. The Marvel studio has officially announced British actor David Johnson as the new face of Prince T'Challa 2 in Black Panther 3. Johnson, who has Nigerian and Sierra Leonean heritage, will play the adult son of the late King T'Challa in the highly anticipated film, which is expected to hit cinemas in December 2028. The announcement came during Marvel Studios' presentation at San Diego Comic-Con, where the actor appeared alongside director Ryan Coogler and members of the original cast, drawing loud cheers from fans. With a new generation ready to protect Wakanda, many Marvel lovers are already eager to how the story continues and how Prince T'Challa too steps into one of the franchise's biggest legacies. And that's all we've got for you today. If Big Brother doesn't trend tomorrow, someone in the house probably forget the cameras were on. And if Gege tweets again, social media detectives will already be refreshing their timelines. And as for Marvel fans, the countdown to Wakanda has officially begun. Thanks for watching. Stay out of online arguments. Mind your business unless it's entertainment update. Then by all means, we'll see you in the next update. And coming up next is Sport News with God's Power after the break.
What a weekend we had in the world of sports. From dramatic comebacks to historical achievements, Nigerian athletes gave fans plenty to celebrate. Anthony Joshua survived an early scare to secure a stunning knockout victory, while Team Nigeria made a record-breaking start at the Commonwealth Games. And now, attention turns to two major football fixtures ahead. Welcome to Sports Update on S24 Rundown. I am Udokan Godspower. Let's begin in the boxing ring, where Anthony Joshua is back. The British heavyweight returned to action over the weekend, overcoming a difficult start to stop Albanian's Christian Prenga in the second round in Jeddah. It was a contest that almost ended before it truly began. Joshua suffered two knockdowns just 20 seconds into the fight, leaving fans shocked and raising questions about whether his comeback bout could go wrong. However, the former world champion showed the experience and composure that have defined his career. He recovered quickly, regained control of the contest, and produced a powerful knockout finish to secure victory. For Joshua, the win was about more than just returning to the ring. He stepped inside wearing a custom ribbon bar in honor of his late friends Sina Gami and Lateef Ayodele, and later revealed that their memory gave him extra motivation throughout the fight. The victory keeps alive hopes of another major heavyweight showdown, with a potential clash against Tyson Fury still being discussed. And moving away from boxing, Team Nigeria is also making history at the Commonwealth Games. The Nigerian contingent has enjoyed its strongest ever start to a Commonwealth Games campaign, producing impressive performances across different events. The early success has boosted expectations as athletes continue their search for more medals and look to make the nation proud on the international stage. Meanwhile, football takes the spotlight as the Super Falcons kick off their Women's African Cup of Nations title defense tomorrow. Nigerians' rivals are already setting the pace, with Algeria and host Morocco beginning their campaigns with victories. The 10-time African champions will now look to make a strong start when their own campaign begins, as they aim to defend their continental crown and add another chapter to their remarkable history. But before that, Nigerians Flying Eagles will also be hoping for a winning start at the Waffle B Championship, commencing later today. The Flying Eagles will be facing Ghana in their opening fixture, renewing one of West Africa's biggest football rivalries. And that is a wrap on today's sports updates. From the boxing ring to the Commonwealth Games and major football fixtures ahead, Nigerian sports continues to deliver moments of excitement, resilience, and national pride. I am Udokan Godspower. Do stay with Hafa Sidika. What you get for us today now?
My brother, plenty don't happen. And today to read a full ground where. Una good afternoon, my country people. Make we begin yarn waiting day table sharp. Number one, be say federal government don't allocate 962.83 billion naira from inside the 2026 budget to take buy sport utility vehicle, where they call SUV, and the grown empowerment projects. Even as people they complain, say government they borrow money too much. One civic tech organization, where they call Tracker, can review say out of this money now 15.13 billion naira now they go use by 39 SUV. And 947.7 billion naira go enter 2,579 empowerment projects. Tracker raise alarm say this spending no dey transparent at all because now only 70% out of all the projects get clear location. The group wants say if project details no clear, it go hard way to monitor am, and it go also hard to hold anybody accountable, especially as government they plan to borrow money to take fund most of the 2026 budget. Economists don't come out, they beg government make they wise up for money matter, say borrow, it don't too much. And on top election where they come, the Independent National Electoral Commission, where be INEC, don't finish the continuous voter registration exercise all over the country ahead of the 2027 general elections. The exercise gives people chance to register as new voter, transfer their voting center, correct their details, and make a collect new permanent voter card for people where their own lost, or be say their own spoiled. INEC chairman, where he named na Professor Joash Amu Peter, assure Nigerians say every valid vote must count for the 2027 election. As in repeat, say the commission they committed to conduct free, fair, and credible election. Stakeholders don't beg INEC may they leave voter registration open continuously so that more eligible Nigerian people go fit register and may they for free vote. And on top fake agency matter we still dey ground. House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee, where they investigate the agency matter, where they call Presidential Foreign Investment Promotion Council. They don't ready to corner the Accountant General of the Federation, where be Shamsuddin Ogunjimi. They want make he explain how the agency take collect 1.32 billion naira budget allocation, even though federal government don't claim out, say the agency no even legally they exist. Lawmakers they press to know how the ghost agency manage collect government budget code and even secure office space inside the federal secretariat. Wahala can start to the pop up after security arrest one man where carry shoulder say na him be the Director General of the council. This one happened as presidency quick run distance, swear with everything say they don't know anything about this agency, say na pure fake thing na they do. And on top education matter, the federal government don't increase the number of students where they admit into nursing school every year from 20,000 reach 50,000 as they try solve the heavy shortage of health workers for Nigeria. The Minister of Education, where he named Tunji Alausa, talk say this increment na part of bigger education reform to make the country health sector strong and to support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu economic plan. Alausa add say they don't also raise admission slots for people them where they admit to study medicine, pharmacy, and dentistry so that the country will get plenty skilled health professionals. In contact, say in their confidence, say this reform could help reduce the effect of doctors and nurses where they japa every time, and it will improve health services for the country. And police for Berlin inside Germany talk say they don't shoot the main suspects for the attack on top the city pride celebration dead after the person attacked officers with knife. It happened less than 24 hours after them kill one woman and injure at least 29 other people as one van drive enter crowd and multiple people get stabbed near one Berlin Pride event for Saturday night. One court for South Korea don't sentence their former president to 18 months inside prison, but they suspend them the jail term for 3 years after they find him guilty say he break election law, say he been lie during in 2022 presidential campaign. The court rule say the president lie give voters about in connection to one lawyer, one former tax officer, and one native doctor, what they call shaman, during the election. And lawyers don't talk say they go appeal the judgment if they keep the conviction as it be. And party people will be people power party feel need to refund all the campaign money where they for government hand give them. My people make we leave matter for Matthias because Nigeria matter no be waiting they go talk finish for one day. Till we jam again. My name is Sidika Yusuf.
Thank you, Sidikat, for the pidgin version of the news. And this brings us to the end of S24 Rundown. Do join us tomorrow, same time. And remember to follow us on all our social media platforms at S24 Television for more updates and breaking stories. My name is Gloria Atta. Thanks for watching and bye for now.